All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is the preview Arsenal versus Brighton. Uh, Midweek game. I say a midweek game, it's a Thursday game. For some reason, we're one of four teams uh, that are playing on Thursday randomly when seemingly most of the teams are playing today. It's like, well, why couldn't we just play today? Um, but yeah, it is what it is. All these games are on Amazon Prime, so you best believe you get Amazon Prime. I guess the one good thing about going on Amazon Prime is, let's be real here, most of us will be buying Christmas presents for loved ones, and I guess it's our advantage just hooking up with Amazon Prime. So, Rago, we might as well just get on with it. Anyway, let's looking forward to the game and moving on to the game. Arsenal versus Brighton, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of lineup we go with against Brighton. I think the enthusiasm that we had perhaps this time last week has almost been killed to a certain extent by one starting lineup, seemingly. I remember everybody I spoke to last week was buzzing for Freddie getting the job. I was buzzing too, not necessarily just because Freddie got the job, because I never wanted him long term. I was always pretty vocal about that. But I just felt like more than anything, I was happy that Emre left because it was the right decision. I think subsequently, we all went into that game with something that's very rare from Arsenal fans. We were all united and we all had this hope. And I remember one individual from a group chat that I belong to, if he's watching this, he'll know who I'm talking about, went to me, oh no, what if Freddie picks like a completely crap team? I remember it was the night before. Like, I got this horrible feeling he's going to pick a horrible crap team. And I remember thinking at the time, oh, don't say that. Don't say that. And then all of a sudden, I then started having that feeling. But even I must admit that I wasn't prepared for what we then saw the next day, which was we were looking at the team, and I just thought, but, but, but why? Why has Mustafi suddenly been called up? Why is you can have your debates about Granit Xhaka. I'm mentally prepared for Granit Xhaka's return. There was just so many things in the team that I just didn't understand. I didn't understand why Pepe wasn't playing. I didn't understand. There were so many things I didn't understand. And then in the first half an hour or so of the game, I was pretty encouraged by the things that I saw, in the sense that we started playing a lot more possession-based football. We were applying a lot of pressure moving forward, and we were trying to look for ways to be able to breach Norwich's defence. And we had a lot of chances. I think people forget that. Like, I saw a lot of fan cams and analysis and reviews after the game, and people saying that we were lucky to draw that game. I disagree, because I actually felt for the first half an hour of that game, we were all over them. I mean, we slapped them. We slapped them without really punishing them. And that ultimately was what ended up costing us, because we didn't punish them, they were able to capitalize, and we end up having another draw to the resume. We just seem to be the draw specialists. And it was disappointing because, let's be real here, Norwich are bottom of the league. I don't care if it's home or away, you would expect us to be able to do some sort of job on Norwich. And for all of our great initial efforts, what we ended up seeing was just the same old problems coming back to haunt us again. I think everybody kind of left that situation, that game, whether you watched it from home, whether you went to Norwich itself, everybody left that game a little bit deflated because we expected better. when certain teams talk about managers and their bounce back, why can't we get the bounce back? Like whenever we bring a new manager in, why is that first result not a good result? It happened with Emre's, happened with Freddie. It's like, come on. Shouldn't we have an initial amazing bounce back? And I think everybody left it a bit disappointed and a little bit deflated. And I can understand that. Of course, I can understand that. I think I never completely lost my head. And I haven't done all week, as I see Liverpool going 2-0 up. My gosh, they're an amazing team. I never completely lost my head because I always felt like ultimately Freddie had quite a task on him coming into the game anyway. And I felt like as long as we can go out there and in our next game at home against Brighton, a team we should be able to slap and show and give a good account of ourselves, then I felt like, maybe we can just continue to push on in spite of Freddie's flaws. But he exhibited some flaws that I didn't like. Then I noticed that people were criticizing him this week about, whether or not Freddie should be asking for advice from Arsene Wenger and things like that. And I had my say on that yesterday. For me, I didn't see an issue with it. I think it's normal. Doesn't necessarily mean that Arsene Wenger is going to start getting involved in the day-to-day running of the club because, quite honestly, he's not been doing so all this time. So why would he all of a sudden start now? But I think people are so fearful of Wenger coming back in any capacity that they can't contemplate the idea that my man might just want to have a conversation with the guy. So yeah, for me, I'm not overly concerned about whether or not Freddie wants to speak to Arsene Wenger. It is what it is. What is apparent to me and what I want to see is a better performance. That's what I want to see. I want to see a better performance. I want to see Pepe starting. I want to see a more youthful, exuberant team, expressive team. I know we saw our first glimpse today of the sort of things that Freddie was working on. And he was working on triangles and things like that. So people would be sat there to get triangles. So passing in triangles, being sharper, moving the ball a little bit quicker. And from what we saw, it looked good. But training always looks good. It never looks bad. I think towards the end of Emre's tenure, there were certain things that you're kind of like, why are we always doing this? Like the corner drill. It's not like we used to score a lot of corners, but for some reason, every single time that the Arsenal media wanted to show something online, they would show this same corner drill. And I used to be sat there thinking, but why do we keep showing this? Because we're not improving what we're doing. So why do we keep showing this? But anyway, I digress. This is usually the part where I show you my team. Now, before I do that, I'm going to just warn you now, this is going to be a completely fresh team. A little bit of a dynamic team. I've taken into account of players that played on Sunday. In certain cases, I've taken into account players that played on Sunday and don't deserve a place in the team. I've also taken into account that maybe it's an opportunity to give people a certain chance in certain positions. I want you to bear that in mind prior to seeing this team. And I know people are going to start bitching and moaning. All right? All right, here we go. This is my team to face Brighton. My hopeful 11 to face Brighton. Right. Hopefully you guys can see this. So this is my hopeful 11 to face Brighton. I've gone with a little bit of a dynamic team. I've obviously kept two players technically that started the game on Sunday, and that is obviously Leno and our captain Aubameyang. But around him, I've obviously freshened things up, changed things up. For me, I thought Lacazette was so dead in that game against Norwich, he does not deserve a place in this team. And that's a lot of the reason I've kept him out of this team. Let's start with the defence. Let's build from the back. Bringing in Hector back in. I know he's not exactly set the world alight, so it's coming back, but I think now would be the opportune time to bring him back into the side, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's why I play him there. I don't think Socrates has been great all season, but one thing I will say for Socrates, he played his best football next to him. And that's why I would like to see the two of them pair back up, because I think they both could potentially bring something out of the other. And I'd quite like to see those two play together. Now, obviously, this is on the basis that Holding is okay. This is on the basis that Socrates is okay, because I know both of them have had injuries, stroke, knocks. So this is on the assumption that both of those guys are okay. If not, I'd probably bring Chambers in, not because Chambers deserves a chance necessarily, because I thought he was awful on Sunday. But as a centre-back, I still trust Chambers to a certain degree, and that's why I'd play him. Tierney, quite simply, I don't understand why he wasn't playing on Sunday. I will say this for Kolasinac. Actually, I didn't think Kolasinac did anything wrong, really. But I would prefer Tierney in that. I mean, for me, that's our future there. So just play him. That's kind of the way I look at it. Such a hard-working fullback. And for me, I'd play him every single day of the week. And that's why Tierney gets into the team. In central midfield, I've gone with two players of very similar types. This is obviously the part that's going to cause the controversy. So I've gone with Lucas Torreira. I think most people agree with that. But then I've gone with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now, for me, the reason I've done that is because I know Torreira likes to get the ball from deep and then spray it forward. The reason I've gone with these two is I like these two as anchors to allow these guys to push forward as much as possible and help these guys out. So because we won't have a Xhaka on the pitch, we won't have a Guendouzi on the pitch who like to spray it from deep. Actually having people that are prepared to move forward with the ball, are confident, would be the way to go. Now, obviously, there's an opportunity for perhaps for someone to say, well, why wouldn't you just put Willock in Ainsley Maitland-Niles' spot? And you could. But honestly, I also thought he was terrible on Sunday, and he ain't getting in my team. And quite honestly, that's genuinely what I think about it. To me, I think that these two as anchors will do an interesting job. Now, obviously, the other flip side to that is, Chig, thought you said you wouldn't play two DMs at home against a low league team. What I will say is this. I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles is a box-to-box. This is what he likes to do. This winger crap that he himself bought into, he is no winger. He's a central midfielder. And I think someone like Freddie will understand that. I mean, quite honestly, if Freddie doesn't give him a chance as a central midfielder, no one's going to. You might as well sell him. And that's the reason I've decided to play him there. Because Freddie has seen him play in that position firsthand. So for me, I'd play him there. Can he be any worse? I mean, to be fair to the two central midfielders that have been playing there, Xhaka over the last couple of games has been okay. I can't even front. And Guendouzi, I still think gets a bad rap from a lot of our fans. I mean, I think he's a good player. But it is what it is. And then the front four. I think this speaks for itself to a certain extent. Obviously, the big surprise in the team is Nelson. Nelson, you might attribute as someone who likes going down the wing. I actually think would relish playing in this sort of position. Maybe someone that you can interchange with one of these guys as well. And I'd like to see what he can do as a number 10. I really would. I would love to see Nelson get a goal, Premier League level, influence the play in front of the home fans, give him some confidence. Now, obviously, with one of these two, the argument could also be, all right, but could you play Emil Smith-Rowe in one of those spots? Yep, you absolutely could. Provided he ain't injured, because that's another one I thought was injured as well. Martinelli should be starting games. I think the conversation done. So he's starting a game. He's starting my game. And I think Saka, I just want to pump the brakes on Saka for a bit. So I think Martinelli starts on the left-hand side for me. I'm going with Nicolas Pepe on the right-hand side. I don't know if he's not training well. I don't know if it's an attitude problem. I don't know what it is. I know he looks quite sheepish to a lot of people, and a lot of people have had their doubts about Nicolas Pepe. For me, I'm not quite at doubt stage just yet. I still think he'll be a good player. But I think for now, for the time being, play him on that right-hand side and watch him do his magic. For Pepe, he almost needs to wait until Lacazette leaves, because I think that will happen. And I think once that happens, you'll start to see the best out of Pepe. I don't think Pepe, Uber, and Lacazette work together. Unfortunately, but I don't. And then Uber speaks for himself. He's the captain. He's the one banging in our goals at the moment. You got to keep him. You got to keep him in the side. I think all in all, I think this is a young side. It's a dynamic side, though. It's a side that will ask questions, that'll be useful, that will be exuberant, that will express themselves, that will take chances. But I also think it's a side that might be able to produce a better result than our experienced side from last Sunday. And I think if we were to play a side like this, even if it isn't exactly this, but like this, then I think we should be winning this game. And I'm going to predict an Arsenal win for this game. I think we'll go on, we'll kick on, and we'll beat Brighton at home. Just because it's a home game, because I think we'll be on the front foot, because I do expect Freddie to pick a completely different side to what he picked on Sunday, because he did face a lot of criticism from people. And I think he's aware about the criticism he has faced. Whether you think it's right or wrong, I think one of the things that he did say was that he picked that side because he wanted to see essentially what Arsenal can work with, what was in the reserve tank, you know. Plus, we're talking about a side that is 16th in the table, so we theoretically we should be able to beat them. Having said that, when you look at the grand picture of it, we are 4 points above Brighton. That's right. I repeat, 4 points above Brighton. Currently 10th. As things stand. Bear in mind, a lot of games are playing today. So, in theory, we should be able to beat them. But that is, of course, in theory. You guys let me know what you think of the team. Leave it in the comments below if you're watching this in the playback. Let's do 5 minutes of question time, and then I'll get up out of here. All right? 5 minutes of question time. Please do stick a like on this video. I know lots of people are watching football. Is ambitious to try and do a show now, so I know not a lot of people are watching this at the moment. So hopefully, by you driving the likes through, we'll get the show get noticed, and they will be able to catch it and watch it later. United are 2-1 up, apparently. Okay, I hear my phone buzzing off, so it must be back again. My brother phoned me. What do you guys think? Are you confident ahead of Brighton? Or as Lee would say, is anyone actually confident ahead of Brighton? I think we'll slap Brighton tomorrow. Don't know why. Yeah, I've got a feeling. I think we'll win. I think we'll win well. That's why I've gone with 3-1. What are your predictions for Brighton? Any predictions for Brighton? It's quiet up in here, boy. Flip me. Liverpool are 3-1 up against Everton, and they've rotated that side as well. There is no way they are not winning this league. There is absolutely no way they are not winning this league. They're incredible right now. Incredible. 2-2, 2-2. Lots of people saying 2-2. I'm down for this lineup. Been these first teamers who can't put in a full shift. From big up from Jeff. I see you, buddy. And quite honestly, I don't disagree with you either. Chig, apparently Simeone's getting sacked. Should we go for Simeone? Ben, I'm going to give a comment on that later. I'm going to give a comment on that. Anyway, I've got to go now, but I'll be back later on. Catch me and Ola. We're going to be doing a show very shortly, so do catch us for that. In the meantime, I'm out of here. Take care. See you at 9:30. 9:30 back here with Ola. Peace.